housing, and food security. To connect across cultures and across services. To link immigrants together and encourage networking. And today is a fine example of that. To link this process to the Ontario Poverty Reduction consultations in Ottawa and to the municipal framework on poverty reduction. To improve access to services for immigrants by improving the coordination of information between agencies serving immigrant populations. And lastly, to emerge with a list of recommendations on how to make our communities more inclusive and welcoming. This event will attempt to make the links between poverty, immigrants, and the social determinants of health, and explore ways of improving conditions for immigrants living in poverty. I would like to take this opportunity to read a message to you from our Governor General, shakir1. She was invited to attend today's forum, however, she is currently out of the country, but she does send the following letter. I truly regret that I am unable to take part in the Rethinking Poverty Immigrant Perspectives Forum with all of you today, not only to hear your stories, but also to speak to you personally about my own experience. During my visits to our many communities, I have witnessed firsthand how much our country is enriched by its cultural diversity. For more than a century, people have been coming to Canada from all over the world to pursue their dreams and to build better lives for themselves and their families. Today, we can all benefit from the unique diversity of colors, cultures, and ideas that make up our society. Women, men, and children from diverse backgrounds share the same communities, working together in all of our institutions, shopping at the same stores, studying at the same schools, and playing in the same parks. We have many reasons to celebrate these successes and how far we have come to achieve them. Right here in our own nation's capital, integration models are visible everywhere. But let us not forget that much work remains to be done. Together, we must continue to find solutions to ensure that all citizens can take their rightful place in our society. You are here to contribute in your own way and to the extent that you are able to the achievement of this goal. I firmly believe that every action matters, every word counts. I wish you a very productive meeting and truly meaningful discussions. Mikael. I now have the privilege to introduce to you our keynote speaker. We're very lucky to have with us today Uzma Shakir from Toronto. Uzma Shakir is a community-based researcher, advocate, and activist. She's the past executive director of Council of Agencies Serving South Asians and the South Asian Legal Clinic of Ontario. She has worked as a teacher, a journalist, and a researcher. Uzma has 2 bachelor's degrees, one in English literature from Karachi University, Pakistan, and the other in international relations from the Sussex University, England. She received her master's degree in international law and diplomacy from the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy, Tufts University, Massachusetts. Her work focuses on issues of race, erosion of civil liberties, and critical multiculturalism. Her experience includes advocating, organizing and facilitation, writing and speaking on diverse issues facing racialized communities. She has expertise on issues of racialization of poverty, violence against immigrant and racialized women, youth engagement, parenting, civic engagement, rights and obligations, hate crimes, racial profiling, access to professions and trades. Please welcome Uzma Shakir.
City Hall. It gives me illusions of grandeur. I don't know about you, but I don't know what she's doing being a settlement worker. She should be the Canadian Idol or something, right? Like, I was blown away. This is like Susan Boyle all over, right? I don't know if you've heard of Susan Boyle? Yeah, exactly. Everybody's heard of Susan Boyle. But, Carmen, you're just incredible. Wherever you are, you're just phenomenal. If I could sing like that, then I wouldn't be doing this crap. But I gotta make a living too. Thank you very much. Actually, I look much better from the front than the back. But I'm honored to meet Ismail as well. One of the advantages of being in my position is that you get introduced by good-looking young actors. And when I say that to my 15-year-old daughter, she goes, "Ooh, that's terrible, you're too old." I'm like, I'm old, but that doesn't mean I can't enjoy looking at a good-looking young man who's an actor. He wasn't nervous enough. He's now even more nervous. I love you, man. I love you. But really, it's an honor to be here. Ottawa is one of those places, which is close but so far away. And I never quite get to come here. And, living in Toronto, I know it's a national pastime to hate Toronto. And I don't blame you, I hate it too. But what can I do? I live it. And 80% of us Joe Schmo types, immigrant types, we show up in Toronto. So excuse me if I make some references to Toronto. It's not because I think it's God's gift to humankind, although it may very well be. But it's not because of that, and it's not because I think the sun rises and sets in Toronto. It's because Toronto, in a sense, is a crucible. If something is happening in Toronto, and it has anything to do with immigrants and refugees, you can bet your bottom dollar it's happening in your city. It's really not that different from any place else. It's just that there is many more of us there. And so when it happens, it becomes a little more stark. So pardon me if I make references to Toronto. I don't do so because I'm Toronto-centric, although I am Toronto-centric. But I also do it because I think it's a good reflection of what may be happening in your city. And if it isn't happening in your city right now, it is likely to end up happening in your city. So, bear with me when I talk like that. Now, I realize that this session is about solutions. But you can't have solutions if you haven't diagnosed the problem. So, pardon me if I go back to a little bit of diagnostic analysis. When you think about, the whole session today is called Rethinking Poverty. Well, in order to do rethinking, first we have to, at least acknowledge how we do think about poverty, right? Before we can do any kind of rethinking. So I was just thinking about, what does come to mind when one thinks about poverty? Like if I told you there's economic recession, you would understand poverty. Because, economic recession is about, bankruptcies, companies closing down, people losing jobs, people being laid off, people not making enough money to be able to pay for all that, great gift of Western democracy called credit living. We are all sort of, in debt before we are born. I used to enjoy living in Pakistan, It used to be a cash economy. You had money, you bought it. You didn't have money, you didn't buy it. Now I go to Pakistan, everybody's in debt. And they think they're modernized. I'm like, man, you guys are so primitive. You were pretty modernized. If you had money, I remember my father, when he went to buy his house, he had a bundle of money, this much. That's when he bought the house. If he wanted to buy a car, he had to have that much cash. Didn't have cash? You bloody well took a rickshaw. It was that simple. So, if I say credit, if I said to you, recession, you understand poverty. Yeah, people could be poor. If I said income disparity, yeah, you could say that. Yeah, income disparity, basically, it implies concentration of wealth in fewer hands. Yeah, that could, you could understand poverty. I'm getting old. I have to put on glasses. I hope they're cool. If I said, you must understand, I have teenage children. It is very, very important for me to be cool, otherwise I become passé. And I can't afford to become passé. I have to stay relevant for my kids. So I do all kinds of cheap things like buy fancy glasses. That's called cheap popularity. All the mothers in the audience who have children understand exactly what I'm talking about, right? Yeah.